Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I definitely switched us so that you should be over here. There we go. Now we're in a whole order. I'm happy. That's all that matters. My OCD was kicking in. But welcome to another episode of I've decided to just call this Adrian and Jake's football talk show. That's what we're going with. We'll eventually name it. It's not on a priority list. I don't care.
But we just need to make sure we line up on show times and weeks and.
So first things first, I absolutely suck at communication on Facebook Messenger. As our buddy Heath here, who is in the comments already talking about my hat, knows I am terrible with Facebook Messenger. Absolutely atrocious.
He thought I'd ever reply to him last week. I'm like,
yeah. So last week, let me tell you the situation with that, actually. What really happened last week is I was getting so many influxes of messages because I was promoting my job and across a bunch of my job's Facebook page because we're all subcontracted. I don't name my company on things like this, so just be aware I'm working around that. So I posted on a bunch of their pages, and I was getting at the end of it, I had like 112 messages. So in reality, you just got lost in the shuffle because I was trying to get people hired into my job, and we ended up filling our 10 spots in about like 35 minutes. It just happened to be the day that you messaged me.
Yep. And you had a team event last week, I think?
Last Tuesday night, we had a team dinner. So
yeah, and that worked out because that was stress beyond belief at work. I was working until like 1 o'clock in the morning, dude.
Yeah. I mean, last week, Wednesday and we might want to think about changing to Wednesdays in general because it might just be the better day for both of us.
Yeah.
Seems like all of my team activities happen on a Tuesday these days. So
hey, Wednesday works for me, so whatever works. Like
so
I said, I'm pretty flexible during the week. Just let me know. As long as it's after 7:30, as long as it's 8 or later, I'm good. 8 Central time.
We might do that. That might be the new plan. That might be the new move.
Fair enough.
All right, let's get to it, though. You want to go through these scores? You want to give the rundown of what we've got to talk about today?
Yep. Let's start with Thursday night's game. So the Rams beat the Seahawks, and in the 26-17 with the Seahawks losing Russell Wilson for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Granted, I will say, Geno Smith looked decent until Tyler Lockett decided to trip and cause an interception. The Jets lose to the Falcons in London, 27-20. Kyle Pitts has his first touchdown, and he actually had a really good game, 119 yards and a touchdown.
That 119 yards was also the most by a rookie in London history.
Fair enough. That's a nice tidbit. I hate the fact that it's like at 7 o'clock in the morning. Those games are.
Okay, first things first. I love it on my off week. Like I got to watch that entire game. Zach Wilson, interception machine. Absolutely love it. Makes me happy as a Patriots fan.
Oh gosh. Well, hey, the Pats play him again in a few weeks, so let's see how many interceptions he throws against.
I'll go for four more.
Hey, I have the Pats defense. I need him to throw 4 more in that week.
Somebody named Victoria is the guy in green single. Hit on already, man. Technically, I'm in green as well, and I have green hair. So, just saying.
Thanks, honey. Thanks for chiming in here. The Vikings.
I just threw you off completely.
Yeah, we're just all right. Let's reset. The Vikings beat the Lions, and the Lions keep their heartbreaking losing streak going. I mean, they get beat on a 54-yard field goal this week. They get beat on a 66-yard field goal. I think these kickers are just gonna set the freaking record for longest field goal to beat a team on. By the end of the season, they're going to beat the Vikings by over 500 yards by field goal. Just my thought.
Now that you're done with that, real quick, those are nice pics of your wife in the background, single Jake. And then my wife comes in with, but you're not even a real Patriots fan. The comment section is already on fire tonight. Let's do this.
The Saints beat the football team 33-22. The Patriots struggle against the Texans 25-22.
We'll get into that.
The Dolphins get crushed by the Buccaneers 45-17, and Tom Brady has 5 touchdowns and 400 yards for the first time ever. The Packers beat the Bengals 25-22 after what? I think it's three or four missed game-winning kicks. 4 game-winning kicks. Oh, funniest part of the day, the Bengals kicker thought he made the game-winning field goal and started celebrating.
Hilarious. Absolutely loved it.
The Steelers beat the Broncos and showed that the Broncos' first 3 weeks have been a fluke, 27-19. And but they do lose Juju Smith-Schuster for the remainder of the season. Najee Harris finally looked like he had some running lanes and had 120-plus yards and a touchdown. The Eagles beat the Panthers 21-18. Rather closer game, but the Eagles have been one of these hot and cold teams that, you never know what you're going to get. Now, the Panthers are going to get some help with Stephon Gilmore coming in after, is it this week or the week after? So that should be interesting. That defense should be decent, but they still need McCaffrey back in order to get that offense going.
Can we just talk about the fact that Sam Darnold is exactly what we thought Sam Darnold was, though? He threw 3 interceptions to a Philadelphia defense that hasn't had 3 interceptions in a game since week 2 of 2019.
I think he tried to force a lot of passes towards DJ Moore, who's been the most consistent target he has, and Darius Slay was on his A game that game, too. So, look, Darius Slay is actually not a scrub corner. He's just been stuck in a Lions team and now an Eagles team that is...
I am offended. I am offended. The only thing worse than Jake's hair is the Giants' luck. Wow.
Or Saquon Barkley's legs.
Oh, yeah, or say that's also fair. You know what? Just for that, Anthony, my man, you get to stare at the hair. I'm not keeping the hat on anymore. You get to stare at the hair.
Oh, gosh. Where were we? The Titans beat the Jaguars after Urban Myers was getting grinded on upon with a co-ed.
Hey, by the way, that bar is about 13 minutes walking away from my Airbnb in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, God dang it.
13 minutes walking.
Oh, Lord.
That's also Jacksonville's 20th straight loss, and we can't blame all of that on Urban Meyer, but it is their 20th straight loss, which is the 3rd longest streak in NFL history.
We can't blame it on Urban Meyer, but he's also not helping.
He's not helping at all.
Being a distraction and being an inadequate head coach. The game of the week, definitely. The Chargers beat the Browns 47-42. Now, I know there was a little bit of controversy on some PI calls late in games, but hell, it was an entertaining-ass game.
That was Baker Mayfield's 3rd career loss when scoring 42 points or more. And that's the most in NFL history already.
Baker, no. I don't understand how he loses games. Well, okay, that's not on him. It's on his defense to lose a game like that. He's doing everything he can, for God's sakes.
Absolutely, we're going to talk about John Gruden, Anthony. Absolutely, with the resident Raiders fan, of course we're going to talk about Gruden. But let us get through what has happened in the actual field play, and then we'll get to the John Gruden stuff.
Speaking of that, the Bears beat the Raiders 20-9.
That should have been the nail in the coffin to begin with.
We'll get into that later, obviously, but the Cardinals go to 5-0 after beating the Niners 17-10. Now, granted, the Niners gave them a run for their money kind of late in that game. Trey Lance's first start, a little up and down, but God dang it, Kyle Shanahan, protect your running quarterbacks. You don't want another RG3 on your hands. Cowboys kill the Giants, and the Giants in the same time lose Saquon Barkley, Golladay, and Danny Dimes. in the process. And Trayvon Diggs is still a pick machine right now.
1 interception in 5 straight games, and that's the longest streak for a Dallas player since 1970.
All right, let's see. The Bills beat the Chiefs 38-20, and the Chiefs look like they're in trouble this year. Their defense cannot stop anything, and they're uber reliant on Patrick Mahomes now, and Patrick Mahomes has been making more mistakes than he has the last 2 years. And probably another really good game of the week, the Ravens come back on the Colts 31-25. This is like Lamar's third comeback in the last 3 weeks, and when people gave him crap that he couldn't win coming from behind. And this was his best game as far as passing the ball.
I'm very open about not liking Lamar Jackson. I'm very open about saying he's the most inaccurate quarterback in the NFL. And it's an exaggeration. I know there are actually quarterbacks more inaccurate than Lamar Jackson. Hey, he's not in the NFL right now. Calm down. But Lamar Jackson is on the road to, no, I wouldn't say proving me wrong, but he's on the road to changing his game to adapt to actually being able to throw the ball.
Absolutely. Look, here's the thing with Lamar. One of the things that, some running quarterbacks have struggled with in the past is they've failed to adapt, right? But Lamar is a hard worker. He's highly competitive, and he's going to do what he takes to win. And I think it shows you the last 3 weeks that he's been able to kind of, on the offseason, work on it, and during the week work on it, and really get in the game plan better, and not be so down and not rely on his legs so much like he has in the past. So I'm hopeful for Lamar. I think he's a good kid. He's proven that he can win. I mean, at the end of the line, it doesn't matter how many yards he throws. Can he help the team win, right? And he's done that. And he's had to have more weight on his shoulders, especially without a running game recently. But he's proven that, hey, I can. If you have to put the ball in my hands and I have to throw it, I'm going to be able to get it done.
Real quick, something just popped to my mind. Rushing yards this season.
He only has
341 rushing yards through the first 5 games.
But he only has 300 something plus yards, but he still has more yards than I think like Aaron Jones and some of these other running backs, and he has more passing yard, or he has more total yards than I think 10 or 12 NFL teams.
All right, real quick, let's catch up on these comments. We've got about 5 of them. Kickers. Sometimes they kick 66 yards. Sometimes they miss a ton of game-winning kicks.
Okay, a lot of it was what? Crazy pull lefts that they were missing. It was just, and it wasn't just kicks or normal field goals. It was extra points too. Everybody was missing them this week.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure there was 13 extra points missed over the course of this week, and I think 7 field goals. So something about this week was just off.
The kickers were just off in general this week. It's just weird. And
Martin says, who would have thought John Gruden out of everyone would be fired first?
Nobody.
Martin also said, Urban Meyer, bet no one can get fired quicker than I can this year. And John Gruden, hold my beer.
Well, John Gruden had that, from the last 7 years. Nobody knew that was coming out. Washington Post or Washington Times, whoever had to report that.
And then Anthony, a quick question for Jake. Where's the wrestling content, Ben? You don't understand how hard it is to get 4 guys together that have the complete opposite schedules.
It's hard enough to get 2, gosh darn it.
Just us 2, especially. Okay, I'll be the first to admit I'm the problem. I travel for work, my day job. I am the problem. Getting me together with Jay and Kraith and Martin, not easy. It just last week, me and Adrian didn't have a show because he messaged me on Facebook on the wrong day, and I never saw the message.
Oh gosh. I will say, are we gonna get a Jay guest appearance tonight or no?
I don't know. That's up to Jay. If he shows up, he shows up.
And
I can't.
and he'll be our TV voiceover for the day.
Just comes in real quick to do an ad and leaves.
Yep, exactly. Hey, that's all we need sometimes. All right,
you know what?
you want to
Somebody's
kick
got to
this
do it.
off with some of our monumental topics we have to discuss that's been talked about for the last 72 hours?
As soon as we have my wife with, at least you can admit you're the problem. All right. I mean, we got to open it easy, nice. We got to ease them into the conversation. So we're going to start with going all out. John Gruden he resigned, and professionally, that means he got shit canned.
He resigned before he could get officially fired, because that was probably what's going to happen. Now, look, if it was just the one email criticizing DeMarcus Smith, people could have probably looked past it. But it was the barrage of emails, not just 10 years ago, but even as early as 3-4 years ago. That was
all the way up until 2018. Now, isn't that when he signed with the Raiders?
Yep, that was literally leading up to when he signed with the Raiders. And a lot of that's probably during the season when he was, still doing Monday Night Football. And so that being said, if it was one email 10 years ago, it would have still been the media would have still been very critical of him. But it's easier to swallow versus it's not just racist, it's homophobic, it's misogynistic. So when you're attacking three different groups, yeah, your head's going to be served on a platter.
Now, there's no way John Gruden keeps it or was going to keep his job after this, but I have one issue with this entire situation. It has nothing to do with John Gruden. It has nothing to do with him getting fired. My issue is that the entire reason this all came to light is because they were investigating the Washington football team and their sexual misconduct charges.
And of all the things that comes out of 650,000 emails, this is the first thing that leaks. So
of all things, this.
Right. So are we not going to talk about Dan Snyder? Are we not going to talk about Bruce Allen, who's the head of that controversy? Are we not talking about the pictures that got sent by Bruce Allen to John Gruden with the naked cheerleaders?
Is that who officially sent them?
I don't know if that's officially sent them, but it's in that trend with them. Okay. So, I mean, there's two people involved here. So, and we've always known Dan Snyder's a slimy piece of shit. Let's be honest.
They were working on forcing his way out of Washington, and he's like, "No, I'm just going to buy you all out." And now he's the majority owner of the team.
Look, I've always said this: the league will protect its owners. Like, there's a reason John Gruden's the first of the sacrificial lamb to come out is because he's the most expendable. He's not an owner. It's typically the hierarchy are players, coaches, owner, and Goodell somewhere in that mix somewhere. But the one thing I will agree that John Gruden said was regarding Goodell, the criticism he had for Goodell. Now, I wouldn't use that exactly.
He could have used a little bit better.
He could have used there's better words.
Do you want to call? We all want to call Roger Goodell a fucking idiot. We all want to do it.
You could just say that, and everybody would have been like, "Oh, yeah,
you're right." Even Roger Goodell himself would be like, "You're right. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I know."
Roger Goodell, for God's sakes, during the draft, welcomes the damn boos now.
Yep. He knows he's the most hated man in football. He doesn't shy away from it anymore.
Yeah, but like calling him an anti-football P is probably not the best word to use. Anyways, I'm not even going to go there because that's a whole.
Anthony, from a football perspective, it makes sense for him to resign. I thought it was interesting to see that the locker room supported him, or at least Carr's statement said as much. Also, I don't know about that actually. Wondering NFL's motives in leaking this and the fact that there's guys in the league still active for domestic abuse or drunk driving, like Josh Jacobs, for example. I have no idea what Josh Jacobs did. Not defending Gruden. He isn't a good dude, but the NFL's priorities are all screwed up. That I completely agree with. Let's start. There's a lot to dissect here. So let's start with Derek Carr's statement. I believe his entire statement was, love the man, hate the actions, or something like that. Something to that effect. So I don't know if that's really saying I'm behind him. It's the guy was good to me, so I have no reason to badmouth him on his way out. If you really,
and that's what a lot of the players said. Look, I never experienced that with him. I think what is said is appalling, but I never saw that side of him, is what a lot of players said.
I think the most important player that needs to speak on all of this and speak honestly is Carl Nassib.
Yeah. And if I got to watch a little bit of the press conference that Mike Mayock had today, which Wednesday is obviously media day. And, that's the first thing he said. One of the things he addressed was Carl Nassib did ask for a personal day because of everything going on, which is understandable. He's the first active gay man in the NFL. And Mike Mayock said it best. He's a community of one in the NFL as far as how he aligns, right?
That we know of. And there's other players there. If you're a minority player, like an African-American player, you have other individuals around you that, you can talk to. And obviously the misogynistic thing would not even go there. But obviously that's probably a lot. This is the man that you trust. And then this comes out of things he's been saying. Yeah, I would definitely take a day too. Now, as much as the Mayock presser was good and how good a job that Mayock did during the presser, I do still want to hear from Mark Davis as the owner of the team. But right now, I think Mark Davis is not trying to comment on anything at this time. I wouldn't. But let's jump into the second part of Anthony's comment here. Wondering the NFL's motives in leaking this and the fact that okay, we'll get into that after. But the NFL's motives in leaking this it's almost easy. They're softening the blow for when they don't do anything to Washington.
They're softening the blow and basically saying, hey, look, we did something already to some of these emails. But
the NFLPA is also pushing for the NFL to release all 650,000 emails,
which the NFL is refusing.
Absolutely. No. What could potentially be in those emails would probably damn half the owners in the league.
Yep. And at the end of the day, the NFL and its commissioner are going to protect those owners. And, you have got, let's be honest, it's not like you have owners that are saints here. You have Jerry Jones out there, Robert Kraft. Sorry. Robert Kraft. You have, who else? And then obviously old, was it the Panthers owners that got kicked out?
Yep. There's the Crankies. There's the Ford family. These aren't people you just piss off.
No, exactly. And
a lot of them are the kinds of families where you pissed them off back in the day, you ended up missing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's how much money these families have.
You're not talking about millionaires here. These families are billionaires with generational wealth and basically never being told no ever. So
I think it's the exception of what team? Actually, I think it was the Panthers. He bought his team in like 2002 after becoming a billionaire in like 1993 or something.
Yeah. Shaw. What's his last name? Or what's his name?
It's not Con.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, the only exception to the billionaire owner rule is Green Bay.
Yes, because they're publicly traded. Also, if the emails were to be released, there's a good chance that the NFL would have to open the books to every single team. And technically, the teams are private companies. And none of these owners have ever once opened the books. And we'll get into this a little bit later with another topic that we have to talk about tonight. But the NFL owners don't open the books for anybody. Nobody knows how much they actually make. It's not public with the exception of Green Bay. They go about it
like a private company.
Let's go back. Anthony, I love when you comment because you're so in depth and it gives us, we expand on it so much. So back to Josh Jacobs. Do you know what's going on?
Yeah, he got in a one car, so himself, accident, driving home at 4 a.m. in the morning, in Vegas and under the influence. Now he's not facing any charges for that. But let's be honest, out of every player controversy there is, that's probably on the milder scale. It's not like he was Richard Sherman running up to his freaking wife's or uncle's house trying to barge in. And
let's put this into a reality spectrum. You're drunk driving. You're going to get hit with the charge. You're probably going to do some community service, and you're probably going to lose your license. Shouldn't be any different for an NFL player.
Nope.
It really shouldn't.
Look, people forget. Josh Jacobs is only 22. How many mistakes how many times were you drunk driving or driving under the influence at 22? Let's be honest. There's probably a lot of these individuals who are far worse than that.
Now, mind you, we're harping on Josh Jacobs because you mentioned Josh Jacobs, but we get the point you're making is that there is people like Ray Rice that were in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely. And there's Antonio Brown is still in the NFL. For God's
Antonio
sake.
Brown, man, we're not going to get into that. He's just a head case. But
he might be right about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Gruden, and might have been the reason why he wanted to get out. But he's still a head case.
Anthony says, what I'm saying is, are bad emails now worse than terrible decisions made by grown men? So my biggest issue, the emails are the emails, and what he said is what he said. The biggest issue that I actually found with these emails is these reported pictures that went back and forth.
Yep.
Because
it's just he didn't leave a freaking single group of individual out.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was attacked at that point.
My biggest issue with all that is that you can't just send pictures of girls who were forced to be taught that it's pornography. 2, they definitely didn't have consent.
Right.
3, it's fucking illegal.
Exactly.
Now we've crossed into the breaking laws. Like, yeah, you can be a piece of shit person, but everything he didn't break any laws. Now he's officially broken a law. Yep.
And you also have, I've seen the comment sections on a lot of different sports pages where they're like, well, the NFL has, X, Y, and Z performing at halftime. They've said worse in the song. There's a difference when you're the head coach of $1 billion franchise when you're a music artist. You listen to every type of music. Shoot, Eric Clapton was talking about cocaine, for God's sakes. Hendrix was talking about some Purple Haze.
The amount
all
of
these
people
other
now,
crap.
Don't get me wrong, not all of these people that are singing about this shit are like this, but the amount of people that don't understand that music is a stage show. It is a show. It is entertainment. You think Ozzy Osbourne's a bad example. He is actually that fucking crazy. But you think Alice Cooper, he is actually one of the most nicest people that many people have ever met from multiple stories. You go on stage, you would never guess it. He looks like a Satanist wanting to worship the devil. Their stage show and who they really are don't necessarily match. And again, it's pretty cut and dry with most of these guys that are playing the Super Bowl halftime show that's not the case. But at the same time, somebody like Eminem, it's not like he went and actually killed his mother. He may have sung about it 100 times, but he didn't actually do it.
Yes, and I know he said some homophobic things in his rap or in his songs. And again,
and that's in a different time when that was okay.
Right. Now,
you need to understand the evolution. Like John Gruden, everything he said was not okay in the time frame he said it.
Right. Back like 10 years ago, we could probably forgive that one. But the 3 years ago, that one's hard to push.
But then Eminem said blah, 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 blah in 2002. Like, it's almost 20 years ago, and the entire world has changed.
Absolutely. And the only thing he raps about now is how Machine Gun Kelly is a piece of shit.
Machine Gun Kelly is his own mess of issues. He's fighting with Corey Taylor now, so that's an entire own situation.
He's fighting. Oh, gosh.
All right, Anthony had another comment here that we missed. I am not sure if there are as bad or if not worse things said from player to player in all locker rooms around the league than what Gruden said. Just interesting that Gruden is the fall guy here for the NFL. I do not defend anything Gruden said, and I agree it was right for him to resign. I'm just questioning the NFL. A lot of us question the NFL for various reasons all season.
Yeah. Let's be honest. The NFL has their own agenda.
They always
and
have. They always will.
As much as they can push to try to expand the NFL to, fans that are women, be more inclusive in that sense, at the end of the day, they only care about that bottom line, and that's money, money, money. And that's why we have 17 games. That's why we have games every freaking Thursday when we probably shouldn't. And they can harp all about player safety, but at the end of the line, if it doesn't make the money, they're not going to deal with it. And so at some point, the NFL has to show they're being progressive. And unfortunately, I think this is just the tip of the John Gruden thing will just be the tip of the iceberg. There's still a lot of stuff buried under that.
Oh, those emails are going to be, I really think when it's all said and done and these emails are fully brought to light, Dan Snyder is out.
As he should have been, 10 years ago.
Heath, can we just move back to the actual? He just wants to talk about the Bears. That's all. That's it. That's all he wants. He wants to talk about the Bears. We've harped on John Gruden enough, so let's do it. Let's talk about the Bears. Boy, did they show some actual fucking life for once.
Yeah,
kind of.
Kinda. Yeah, you're playing this very highly distracted team with basically pretty much their entire world hanging on their heads because they don't know what the hell's going on with their head coach. And they keep getting reports and reports.
This is how much that the Bears should not have won this game. Justin Fields went 12 for 20 with 111 yards and 1 touchdown. And in their rushing game, Khalil Herbert had 18 attempts for 75 yards. And Damian Williams had 16 attempts for 64 yards and a touchdown. So they scored 14 points on offense. Vegas obviously couldn't score at all. But they got a total of 252 yards, and they won the game.
And the Raiders didn't help them at all with how many penalties they committed. I was watching the first quarter and a half of the game. They already had 6 penalties for 100 yards. That's not going to win you any games. I'm sorry. But
have you noticed flags are up this year?
Yes.
It's astronomical.
High. And it's one of those things. I'm like, is the refs getting paid to, throw more flags? Because there's some that aren't called, but there's some that you're like, why? Like a couple weeks ago, or the Chargers game when Darren Waller got the first down and he was on the sideline. He didn't spike it towards anybody. He just spiked the ball, and he got a celebration penalty for that.
The Raiders also had a lot of bad drops. Anthony says the dumbest rule, illegal man downfield. I agree. It's been called. Now, mind you, I'm watching every Patriots game or listening to every Patriots game, depending on if I'm in my work truck or not. But I've probably heard that called 7 or 8 times this year throughout the various games I've watched.
It's been called a lot. More than usual. I think if a team's maybe, or a player's 5.5 yards down the field, they're calling it this year. They've been very tight on that. And you look through pretty much everything, and there's even the Chicago had 8 penalties last week. The Raiders had 10, and 2 of them basically took back touchdowns. So that's an issue. But again, you have a distracted team. Oh, now I know the Bears fans. I saw the meme where all the Bears fans are trying to hack Matt Nagy's email to get him fired. Do they have life? They have a weak division. They can win some games up if Detroit's bad luck continues. But
Martin
they still need
says
that
out
new
of
head
everyone
coach.
this season, the team to me that benefits the worst out of all the flags is Philly. The number of touchdowns that have been taken back by the flags are insane.
I'm seeing it. But for their record, gosh darn it, they should be. If they're getting more flags, well, for them, they should be winning more games. But
The
Jalen
Patriots, Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts, and that's not going to change. The Patriots came into a game that very easily they should have won and struggled very hard. The first half was ugly. Extremely
that first
ugly.
half was very ugly. And I don't know if it's, obviously some growing pains with Mac Jones, and then offense. The offense just looks stale. It looks very stale. Remember when Brady was there and you guys can get the ball down the field? That's the same problem they still have. Granted, Hunter Henry finally showed up this game, but they're committing like small, stupid penalties on offense, and inability to get the ball down the field is killing them.
I'm starting to question why we spend so much money on 2 top-tier tight ends when we're not going to use them.
I think the amount of money the Patriots spend on offensive, well, let's just say skilled players, has not given a good return, right? And I get it. Your success has come when some of the best teams you've had is when you've had 2-tier top tight ends with Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. But at the same time, these are different personnels you're dealing with. The NFL's changed from that time. You guys have to get innovative, and you guys need somebody to take it over the top and not just Nelson Aguilar. Sorry, he's going to drop a bunch of balls. And everybody knows
3 for 32 on 4 targets in this game. But the standout here is Jacoby Myers having 4 for 56 and still not having a touchdown to his career. He has about, I think, 115 catches in his career now. Still doesn't have a touchdown. And it's not like Mac Jones is going to be the guy to be able to throw him the touchdown. For some reason, Jones can't find the end zone.
One of the struggles, I think, especially as a rookie coming into the NFL, has always been red zone. Like, they struggle with the red zone. The fields are condensed. Everybody, you're playing in is faster. A lot of the touchdowns Jones gets last year was, Devontae Smith's open, 50 yards down the field. Let me just throw it to him. Or Devontae Smith's open in the middle of the field. He outruns the whole defense. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of touchdowns. That doesn't happen as much in the NFL. A lot of the defense is preventative on the big play. So they've got to be a little bit more creative in the red zone. They have to have more wrinkles, and they have to get these big tight ends. You're paying millions and millions of dollars to actually show up in the red zone.
Josh McDaniels' offense is stale. It's that easy.
Yep. I think the NFL as a whole, from an offensive standpoint, he's starting to be a relic in terms of how he runs his offense now. It worked great for 20-odd years, but it's not 20 years ago anymore, or it's not even 10 years ago.
You saw it start to fade out with the end of Brady, too. It started to get predictable, finally.
It has. Like, there's pieces there that they could be good offensively, but I'm sorry, he's no McVay. He's no, Shanahan. He's not one of these innovative head, offensive coaches anymore. He's not that guy anymore.
Are you ready for conspiracy theory time?
Let's go. Where's my tin hat?
I love conspiracy theory time, boys.
Hold on.
Oh. He said, hold on.
I don't have a hat, but we'll go with this.
An Amazon box. Could we see Los Angeles versus Los Angeles in Los Angeles?
Honestly, both teams are playing good. They are honestly the top, definitely the top. Both teams are in the top 5 teams in the NFL. Now, Arizona might have something to say to that, and so does Buffalo. But it's facets of the game. Let's look at the Rams. Rams offensively are very solid, top 5, top 10. Defensively is solid. Special teams are solid. Coaching, they're solid. Chargers are proven defensively, especially with Derwin James back, they're pretty darn solid, minus getting torched by 400 yards, but against a really good Browns team. Offensively, you're seeing a very, very good Justin Herbert. Like, I think this is the Justin Herbert people didn't realize you were going to get because he was the third quarterback taken in that draft. And offensively, Mike Williams is a beast. Keenan Allen's a beast. And Austin Eckler is a monster. Like, this is the second week in a row he's just put it on the defense. And I'm surprised of how good Brandon Staley as a coach has been. The Cowboys game was a little rough, but ever since then, beating the Chiefs, the Raiders, and now the Browns, he's made all the right calls. Hyper aggressive, goes for it on fourth down pretty much. If it's a fourth and short situation, he's going for it. But there's a possibility.
Do you want to know how I know my brain works different than your brain? The very first thing you went to is why it makes sense from the football perspective. And the very first thing I go to is why it makes sense from the business perspective.
Oh, gosh. It does make sense from the business perspective, but I'm going to let you take care of that one.
If you think about it, last year we had Tampa Bay win in Tampa Bay. First time the home team has ever won. Woo fucking who. But to have that brand new stadium filled with both the teams that are in that stadium for the Super Bowl, that is literally going to just print fucking money for the NFL.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, you're also talking about LA, one of the biggest metropolitan markets in the U.S. So, yeah, money is going to be printed on top of money, basically. They're just not going to stop printing money at that point.
Bills, Cardinals in LA or Rams, Chargers in LA? Who makes more money?
Chargers and Tampa Bay would make probably.
Well, that wasn't an option, Adrian.
Chargers and Tampa Bay would make a lot of money.
Pete says, I would say Buffalo is going for the AFC as of now. NFC comes down to the Cardinals and Rams. I mean, I could also just take the top teams in the entire division, the conference, and say they're going to the Super Bowl. But let's be realistic here. That's probably not going to happen because the number one seed gets knocked out more often than not.
Yep, they sure do. Giants have a lot to say about that, too, with the last couple Super Bowls that they won. They've won as a wild card.
Yep. Came in as the 8th seed. 6 at the time. I think it was 6.
6 seed, yep. And
yeah,
they beat, of course, out of all that year, the first one they won, and they couldn't get the Cowboys was always a tough game for them. Managed to beat the Cowboys and go to the Super Bowl and take out an 17-0 Patriots team. 18-0 Patriots team.
You had to bring it up. You just had to do it. You just had to. Tom Brady himself has said he would trade 2 Super Bowl rings to get that undefeated season.
Yeah, I would too. Gosh.
Oh, so would I.
Look, if he traded 2, so basically he's losing 1. He still has 6 Super Bowl rings. So yeah,
it's worth it. It's worth it.
You put your name right there next to Marino as far as was it Marino's team that went 18-0 or 19-0?
No, wasn't it way before Marino?
No, it was way. It's 72,
was
right?
Was it 70s? Yeah, I think it was the 70s.
Yeah, 72. Well, you put your name up there to that Dolphins team. Yeah, that's basically having all the records in NFL. You have the passing yards record already. Does he have the touchdown record yet?
Yes.
Touchdown record right now, and I know
he has close. Pretty much every single record now.
Just because he's played the damn long.
Yeah. There's not many he doesn't have, and it's due to longevity. Now, we have one more topic for tonight because I came across an article today. Adrian, before I told you, did you know the city of St. Louis is suing the NFL?
Nope. I haven't been paying attention to that. Thanks, John Gruden, and thanks, Urban Meyer.
That's fair. And it's actually going to court.
What's the basis of the lawsuit?
St. Louis believes that they basically got bamboozled by the NFL in the Rams moving to Los Angeles.
That's
Apparently,
not far-fetched.
No, it's not. According to the NFL's built rules, and this has been backed up by a judge already, they have treated their rules that they told the city of St. Louis weren't concrete rules. The judges said, well, you've treated them as concrete rules in other relocations. Therefore, they hold up as your rules. They did not give the city of St. Louis the opportunity to financially meet the demands of what the Rams needed to stay in Los Angeles.
Or St. Louis, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, St. Louis.
Yeah.
So they've already won the first piece of the court case, and they've won a few other pieces of it. It's going to jury selection. Now, there is a history of this. The NFL has lost many times in court on the first level. Look at Tom Brady and Deflategate. It's when it goes to the next level if it really does hold up or not.
Understandable, too. But remember what I said at the beginning of the show. NFL cares about money. And I'm guessing St. Louis wasn't making them enough money.
So there's two viable options here. And no matter what, one of the two is going to happen. Either the NFL is going to settle and pay out a couple $2 billion to the city of St. Louis, or the potential actual real possibility, St. Louis could get an expansion team.
Expansion team, a couple billion. Expansion team, a couple billion.
Thing. Well, they're the same thing. And actually, having the expansion team might be better for St. Louis because it will bring business to the area again. Because what was quoted in the lawsuit is that because of the NFL's negligence to give them the opportunity to do what they needed to do to keep the Rams, they lost out on X amount of money per year for the next X amount of years. But another big piece of the lawsuit on the NFL side is that the Dome, and it had a different name at the time. I was just delivering down there in downtown St. Louis. It's literally just called the Dome now. But the Dome itself put the Rams on a year-to-year lease, which is against NFL policy to begin with. The second an NFL team goes on a year-to-year lease with the stadium, they either look for a new stadium, look to build a new stadium, or look to get the fuck out of that city.
AKA the Raiders.
Exactly. The Oakland Athletics right now in the MLB are in the same situation. They're probably going to Vegas too.
Yep. Or, well, somewhere. They can't. No other city in the Bay Area is going to let them move because the other cities are Giants territories, and the Giants will not let that happen. So Vegas is probably the only option, which Vegas is a really good baseball town.
Our buddy from the area, from the St. Louis area, St. Louis fans give no fucks about football. The reason the Rams wanted to leave is they were the number 3 team in their own market. We all know the Cardinals are the number 1 team in that market. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
The Blues, easily the number 2 team in that market. If they have a AAA baseball team, they're probably the number 3 team in the market. And then maybe the Rams. Gavin, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. Says Dak for MVP. I don't agree. We're going to talk about that probably next week. Actually, probably.
Sorry, but Kyler Murray still has a 5-0 record the last I checked.
Records don't mean everything. Let's calm down.
I know. And Josh Allen and Tom Brady.
Tom Brady maybe. Josh Allen maybe. But Dak is comeback player of the year, definitely.
Oh, comeback player. I don't disagree with comeback player of the year for Dak, but and until Dak needs some signature moments like crazy comeback from behind wins, things like that, in order to start really getting traffic as the MVP. Hell, Lamar Jackson the last 3 weeks has more signature moments than him right now.
Why do you need a signature moment?
Voters.
If you throw for 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns, but do it with ease, you still deserve the MVP.
Oh, no. If you're putting up video game numbers, I don't disagree. But let's be honest, there's other guys who have better numbers than him. And there's other guys who have better records than him. And there's also other guys that have better signature moments than him at this time. So is he in the running? Absolutely. But I wouldn't say he's not my top 3 right now until further notice.
Let's take a look at the quality of opponents that the Cowboys have beat. They lost to the Buccaneers week 1 by 2 points. They beat the Chargers week 2 by 3 points. Then they cakewalked the Eagles, the Panthers, and the Giants.
Biggest wins probably against the Chargers.
It's absolutely the Chargers. It's the Chargers' only loss right now.
Yep.
Had they been able to maybe beat the Buccaneers?
Yes,
easily,
he would.
Especially on opening night after winning the Super Bowl, easily a signature win. Now, I see what you're saying about signature win, but at the same time, just beating good opponents. And you lost to the Chargers. We didn't know what they were at the time.
Right.
And they turned
out
to be
Panthers were
I knew the Panthers were a fraud.
I mean, they play the Patriots this week. Is it this week?
But the Patriots are a mess.
Yep. The next time the Cowboys actually will have a quality opponent is maybe the Vikings.
Don't you dare say the Chiefs.
Maybe the Vikings. I can't even say the Chiefs right now because of God, how awful they are, and I'd
say the Saints.
But some of the Saints are hot and cold.
This is such a cakewalk schedule for the Cowboys this year.
The biggest opponent they have is the Cardinals in week 16, 17.
Yeah, in the second to final game of the season. But Patriots, they're going to easily win that game. Vikings can't figure out their footing, but maybe they squeak a win. Probably not. Broncos were the biggest fraud of a 3-0 team I've ever seen. Besides the Steelers last year being 11-0.
And anybody on the division, they should beat.
Oh, absolutely. Falcons could be a tough game if they figure themselves out. Apparently, Matt Ryan's about to get a 5-year, $188 million extension. Yeah, that's a real thing I saw today. That is a real thing that I saw today. They need to move on from Matt Ryan.
Maybe a 2-year extension to bridge the gap from, your next franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to sell me on a 2-3 year in the 90 to 120 range, I'd buy it.
Feasible.
But a 5-year, $188 million with $120 guaranteed.
He's not 28 years old anymore. Or no. even if he was 30, that could be swallowable. But he's on the last legs of his career. God, Lord.
He won't even finish that 5-year deal.
No, he'll be gone after year 2.5.
Back to the Cowboys schedule. Then they got the Chiefs, which if the Chiefs can figure out themselves, that's going to be a game.
No, if the Chiefs can figure out their damn defense and not allow 500 yards every single game, then Mahomes you won't be over-reliant on Mahomes having to throw the ball 80 times a game. Plus, they have no running game right now, too, so that doesn't help them.
Then you got the Raiders. Saints is going to be a game. Washington,
and then look at the
Giants. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, then look at after the Saints game. Look at that cakewalk of the last 5 weeks.
Washington, Giants, Washington, then the Cardinals game, Eagles. Well, if they don't go 4-1 in that, they fucked up.
Yeah, they really did. And look, they're going to – Mike McCarthy, because of how cakewalk of a schedule this is going to get consideration for Coach of the Year and everything. But let's be honest, it's still the same Mike McCarthy as a head coach. Good Lord. And I will say, I have to give Kellen
Quinn.
No, what's his freaking offensive coordinator? Kellen Moore.
Quinn. Oh, Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah, Kellen Moore.
A lot of credit because they're actually sticking and staying with the run. They have 2 good running backs. They should.
Just to put this into retrospect, looking at the Bills' upcoming schedule, So we're talking about Dak Prescott MVP. Let's talk about Josh Allen MVP real quick. And again, quality of opponent definitely matters. They got the Titans coming up, followed by the Dolphins, Jaguars, Jets, Colts, Saints, they are the Bills, Patriots, Buccaneers, Panthers, Patriots, Falcons, Jets. So, yeah, okay. Hey, calm down, bud. Calm down. Kellen Quinn, yeah. He's somewhere in the world still. I don't know where, but Kellen Moore and Kellen Quinn came in like the same time. They were basically just the same type of player and the same type of person. So, yeah, of course I get them mixed up.
Oh, I mean, they're the biggest team they play is going to be the Buccaneers, which is could be another preview of the Super Bowl. We'll get a little bit more into that. The Bucs aren't any better either. I mean, look at their schedule. The rest of their schedule is pretty much a cakewalk. The Bears, the Saints, Washington, the Giants, the Colts, the Falcons, and then the Bills is their biggest. The Saints, the Panthers, the Jets, and the Panthers. Yeah, their schedule's not any easier. Kyler Murray has probably the hardest schedule out of all of them.
Yeah, I was just about to, so I just brought that up. This week's the Browns, then an easy win against the Texans. Then you got the Packers, the 49ers again, the Panthers, the Seahawks again, the Bears, the Rams, the Lions, Colts, Cowboys, Seahawks.
That is, if he managed to take this team to 12, 13 wins, I think he should be the MVP favorite because that schedule.
Granted, he doesn't throw like 62 interceptions. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, granted, he does not do that, which thankfully he hasn't, minus the Minnesota game that they should have lost because the Minnesota kicker can't make a field goal. Oh,
yeah. Man, I like that Minnesota team. I hate that coach.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray currently has 4 interceptions this season. Hasn't thrown 1 in 2 games.
Yeah. See? The most he threw was 2 in the Minnesota game.
That is correct.
So yeah, he's as long as he's taking care of the ball and keeping this team winning. I mean, obviously the Rams win was very, very big for that team's confidence. And showed last week too that their defense, and actually the last couple of weeks, their defense can play. That defense is actually.
Let's not count out Matthew Stafford in the MVP race. 4-1, obviously we know that, but 12 interceptions. 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions with a completion percentage of 68% with 1,587 in yardage.
Yeah.
I am spiraling right now for stats.
Yeah.
This is what
and I saw this earlier, like leading offensive rookie of the year. I saw Mac Jones' name. I'm like, if freaking Jamar Chase does not get offensive rookie of the year, I will be beyond myself.
It's always a quarterback, man. It's a quarterback award.
I know it is, but when the best quarterback is barely getting there, it's not like he's having look, if he's having a Justin Herbert season, it's debatable. But he's having a pedestrian season as a rookie quarterback. On the meanwhile, Jamar Chase is over there balling out.
Interesting little tidbit here. Zach Wilson leads the league in interceptions with 9. Trevor Lawrence has 8. Patrick Mahomes has 6. Darnold and Burrow have 6. Davis Mills has 5. Mac Jones has 5. And then Trey Lance and what's his face? Bears. Justin Fields don't really count yet. So.
Yep. So.
But that's our time. We're at time. Our time. I got dinner waiting for me.
I have to go back and work. So you guys have a good night. We'll probably see you next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday seems to. What?
Dinner's not done yet.
Dinner's not done yet, but apparently, you know what? Okay, well, we're done. We're done. We're gonna get off. Apparently, I don't have dinner waiting for me, and she likes to call me out on small things like that. But hey, that's why I love her. That's why I love her.
Better be saying nice shit about me.
You know I'm talking shit about you. I don't know why you have to ask.
Oh gosh.
She threw her crock at me.
You ain't crocky, you ain't right.
See, this is why I do my show in the garage.
Yeah, you can't have your wife throwing crocs at you in the garage. You know what? Maybe I need to start having my show and it's cold out there. I don't want to do that.
Hey,
All right,
it's not
ladies
cold
and
yet here.
gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us on this audio adventure of a shit show, awesome show. I don't know, man. I don't do intros and outros. I'm bad at them. I always have been. Maybe I'll write a script for next week. I probably won't. We all know
Where
how
the
this
hell
goes.
is Jay when we need him?
He's probably sleeping, if we're being honest.
Like, he would make the great intro and outro person.
I think I'm going to have him record it so that, like, that intro 30 seconds that I have, I can just pop that on as a video and have him do it. Same shirt every time. Make it easy on us. But we will see you next week. Talk more football. We hope to see you there. We're going to just plan right now for Wednesday so we don't screw it up again.
Yep. And hey, you need to
Beautiful.
send me your damn number.
Yeah, well, as soon as we get off, I'll send it to you.
All right, sounds good. See you guys.
Bye.